Luskin, I personally had an excellent Christmas holiday, and I hope you did too, and the rest of your family. Where does Armageddon Pansner get it wrong?
Well, what he calls the Great Reconnect is just his wish that finally markets will downtick for a couple days and give him the momentary illusion that he's been right about all this excessive pessimism. I mean, I have heard, it's literally, it's going on decades now that we've had to hear about the indebted consumer and the deficit and all this stuff. I mean, come on, it just doesn't wash. It never has any real impact. And housing, don't tell me about housing. The housing sector has been in contraction for 7 completed GDP quarters. Those 7 quarters have been the best 7 quarters cumulatively for the rest of the economy. So there's no problem here.
Hey, Don, how come nobody, this is so fascinating to me, all day long, there was a steady drumbeat about weak factories because the ISM came in a little bit below expectations. I haven't heard anybody, I don't think, talk about the boom in business construction, commercial construction. Listen to this. Private, non-residential construction, a.k.a. commercial construction, up 1.7% in November, 1.2% in September, 2.6% in September, 24.4% at an annual rate last 3 months, 20% over the past 12. Don Luskin, is that a recession, depression, pessimista, or Main Street? What is that?
No, it's ridiculous. I mean, you could tell the same story about exports. We've gained more per year in GDP terms, like $209 billion a year over the last 2 years in new exports. What have we lost in housing contraction? About $145 billion a year. And then add non-residential construction to that, you're almost at $300 billion a year. So this economy is growing great. But of course, the media and the people who are trying to aggrandize themselves on financial television shows are always just going to focus on the hot story, which is risk. Is that like you're going to lose all your money.
Is that like touting their own shorts, their own perma-bear shorts? Don't answer that. I don't want to incriminate anything.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Jim, Miss Don Luskin, what do you make of the commodity story and the world boom story? And let me ask you, is inflation still uppermost in your mind?
Well, absolutely. I can't believe that word hasn't come up until this point in the show. You know, I'm taking a victory lap here. We have gold at all-time highs today, all-time highs. That is all about inflation. That's not all about global growth. It's not because people in Pakistan suddenly have a new appetite for Rolexes. It's because of inflation with a capital I, and that underlies a lot of the themes we've got here. Now, inflation is the price we're paying for the Fed bailing this economy out of some of the problems that it has and some of the problems that it doesn't even have.
So are you still buying? You playing it from the bull side in the new year 2008?
I am, but I am, you know, why not be smart about it? I'm focusing on energies. I'm focusing on metals, materials. I'm short the dollar. And we had a bad day in the market today. The energy sector was up.
I mean, you know, it's interesting. In 2007, we had a very strong dose of gridlock, did we not?
Yes,
President
we did. It was
Bush
beautiful.
Found his veto pen. He had a nice gold veto pen. He used it. He basically got his way. He kept taxes from going up. He even curbed a little spending around the edges. He made sure some of these free trade deals got through. Now, I'm rooting for gridlock, but the question is gridlock going to continue? How do you read the Iowa caucus tea leaves? I know it's early. Nothing's going to be decided, but it is there.
I think it's early, and I think nothing's going to be decided. So I think we have to act.
What if these guys get momentum? Huckabee and Edwards. Oh, what if they get Mo? Or am I being too hard? Maybe that's bullish.
All I can say is if we have to have either one of them as president, I'm moving.
Yeah?
I just can't stand up.
Where are you going? Where are you going?
Anywhere, somewhere where they don't have television. I mean, I just couldn't stand to listen to one of those morons every day. It's just out of the question. But I'll tell you, you know, if one of those, if those two guys do end up running, then it's just going to be a very exciting opportunity for third-party candidates like Ron Paul or Mike Bloomberg. Because neither of those two guys are credible, and somehow the American civilization will come up with an alternative to those two bozos.
Well, we always do. America always comes up with a good option. I agree with you about that. When we need someone, the right person, we find them. The wisdom of the electorate is terrific.
Yep.
That's part of free market capitalism, in my judgment. But I want to tell you, and we'd love to have him on this show. You've invited Mayor Bloomberg on many times. He continues to refuse. Many people, myself included, worry that he raised taxes after 9/11 and he never cut them. And I don't like that. And there's a little too much nanny state government involvement with Mr. Bloomberg. That concerns me.
I agree. I mentioned him only as a courtesy because I don't want to be seen as every time I come on this show I talk about Ron Paul. But that's what I want to talk about. There's your third-party candidate, Ron Paul. He's going to take 20% of the popular vote.
Well, they told me
He's going to deny any of the major party candidates a mandate, and that's a great form of gridlock.
He told me he won't run. I asked him specifically. You know, I've interviewed him. I've given him a fair shake in this campaign. I've interviewed him, I don't know, 3 or 4 times. But he specifically said he won't run. Don. Oh, Don's gone. All right, we didn't quite